Now in India, Dilip Kumar, veteran actor and once the heartthrob of millions across the world, has died at the age of 98 in Mumbai. The veritable legend acted in more than 65 films over nearly 5 decades. Kumar's real name was Muhammad Yusuf Khan and he was born in Pakistan city of Peshawar. He enjoyed a massive audience in the country of his origin. Kumar is survived by his wife, Saira Banu, a Bollywood actress herself. Pakistan's national broadcaster PTV paid tribute to his career and work as a philanthropist. Now, for more on this, we have been joined by Adnan Siddiqui, a renowned Pakistani actor. Sir, thank you very much for your time. Sir, what made Dilip Kumar such a larger-than-life celebrity?
Indeed, he was. Dilip Kumar Sahab was one of the most aristocratic actors. We had graced the big screen, and such actors, such body of work will be guiding the generation of actors to come. And I think it's the end of an era. A huge loss, not for India or Pakistan, but for the entire world, I guess.
Right. Also tell us, why did he disconnect himself from the entertainment industry, or were there any other reasons?
I guess, such actors, who reach their self-actualization, and then, and especially, when you're not even feeling well, and when you see the body of work, what you carry on your shoulder, and then what you see, what's happening around, makes them a little upset as well. That's what I feel. And I may be wrong over here, but the quality, a complete actor. Maybe I would rate him as a complete actor. None of these actors, including me or anyone else, are complete as an actor. But I guess God made Dilip Sahab for an example. If you really want to see a complete actor, maybe there's one or two actors who were like complete actors, and one of them was Dilip Sahab. And I feel that, not only with his acting, with his style, with his dialogue delivery, and the intellect he carries, you could talk to him about any issues of the world, and he was well informed about it too. This is how actors should be. This is what one should follow if someone wants to be an actor. If anybody who wants to be an actor, just follow Dilip Sahab's body of work.
Rightly. And lastly, Mr. Siddiqui, also tell us, how do you believe he will be remembered?
People die. Actors don't die. And such actors like Dilip Sahab, they will be there to teach the world by lighting, by his body of work, what he has done. And of course, he was a legend. And, legends don't die. And people will remember forever. He will be lived in a lot of memories, a lot of his films, a lot of his sayings. And hats off to his wife, Saira Begum. The way she took care of him, the way she was there for him. I think this is one more example of being a great wife, a woman, a heroine who was there right till the last of the breath.
Well, definitely he is going to be remembered always. Adnan Siddiqui, renowned Pakistani actor, thank you very much for giving your pleasure time to Indus News. Now, for more on this, we have been joined by Mayank Shekhar, a film critic from India. Welcome, Mayank. Also, Mayank, now tell us what made Dilip Kumar such a larger-than-life celebrity?
Well, multiple reasons, of course. The first one, given how long he lived, he passed away at 98. He'd actually seen Indian cinema and indeed India as a result through multiple decades, and he was to a huge extent the right person at the right time. He's the first, he's the last man was the last man standing between what used to be the Bombay film studio system and what became the Star system thereafter. He was an actor with the Bombay talkies, and back in the day, the studio system meant that you would be an actor who's employed in a particular company, you would be hired for the job, you would have a monthly salary. So he was a studio era actor, in the 1940s, which is when he started with the film called Jwar Bhata, which was in 1944. And then that whole studio system broke down post-independence. And he stuck around as possibly, and perhaps a lot of people would agree with me, the greatest movie star of that era in the 1950s. So there was a change that he saw from studio to the star system, and he was right at the top of both those changes. Then there were the stories that he told as an actor, as a storyteller, which reflected a new generation altogether. There were stories that were not just fantasies in the 50s, but also stories that talked about resurgence of a country, that talked about nation building, and he was right at the center of those films. So that was the entire 50s, and the 60s was, of course, a much lighter generation in terms of storytelling, and he was right on top there too. So we're looking at 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s was where he was missing, but he came back in the 80s again with multiple films like Karma, Kranti, Mashal. So he was relevant again in the 80s, and of course there was the 90s, which was basically the end of his career in a sense. I think Killa was his last film in 1998. So if you just look at it in terms of the sheer body of work, also in terms of time, in terms of the filmmakers he worked with, in terms of the systems that he worked under, I think there is absolutely very little parallel to Dilip Kumar in that sense.
Right. Also, Shekhar, tell us, we couldn't see him performing, we couldn't see him on screen, or was there a disconnection of him from the entertainment industry?
No, I don't think he ever disconnected himself from the entertainment industry. I think there was age, which was a huge factor. Also, for the past decade or so, a little less than that, he had been suffering from Alzheimer's. His wife Sarah Banu was the caregiver. I think one needs to also credit her for being by his side at these very tough times. So, in that sense, I think health was not on his side for a very long time. Of course, of course, we all wish that he could live until 100. That's what even the doctors said when he passed away. They were trying their best to sort of see him through his century, as it were. But he was not in the prime of his condition, health-wise, especially mental health-wise, to participate in a lot of engagements, whether personal or social engagements. But he was there. I think he had a Twitter handle. You could see. I'm presuming his wife was handling it. But even before that, before the ailment hit him, I think he took great interest, not just in the cinema of its time, but also in cinema's issues. He would be right there in front when to back the bodies, the film bodies when they had a demand, whether with the government or with other sectors. So he was a fairly engaged man right towards the end of his life, which is which of course at some point health was not on his side.
Lastly, Shekhar, Dilip Kumar, the greatest the world has witnessed. How do you think he is going to be remembered?
He will be remembered for his films, frankly speaking. Not too many actors have had movies across decades, across generations that have survived the test of memory, the test of time, public memory, as it were. And whether it's a movie like Mughal-e-Azam back in the 60s, a film like Naya Daur, a film like Madhumati, which won the maximum number of Filmfare Awards. He was, in fact, the first actor to win the Best Actor Filmfare Award back in 1952 for Daag. He also was not an insecure actor. He worked with his contemporaries. He had a film with Devanand. He had a film with Raj Kapoor. Raj Kapoor and Devanand did not work with each other in that sense. And going down generations, he worked with Amitabh Bachchan in Shakti. Worked with Anil Kapoor all the way down in Mashal. So there was that element. But I think the most important thing to remember about Dilip Kumar is the fact that he was an original actor. The generation before him, the actors who came, the lead actors, were very theatrical in their projection of their craft, as it were. Indian cinema the silent cinema actually came from a long tradition of Parsi theatre. But he was, and of course he got this tag of being a method actor, which is unfair on him. I think he was a self-learned, self-taught actor who was subdued, who was not always over the top, who had his mannerisms, but he was not restricted to his mannerisms, which explains the complete variety of roles he played all through his career, although he got tagged along as the tragedy king because of films like Devdas. But I think he had an incredible range as an actor also, whether you look at it as a comedian. He did a bunch of films, or masala films like a Ganga Jamuna, which was a huge success too. So commercially successful films, but done in a way that had not been seen for this long before. That's how people are going to remember Dilip Kumar for generations to come.
Definitely a legend, and he shall be remembered in good words. Mayank Shekhar, film critic, had joined us from India. Thank you very much, Shekhar, for your time.